issues are used to handle that, how much goods and services should be produced in an economy, how to ensure that an economy acts in an balanced manner. We will be discussing more about macroeconomics when we will be covering up the last three units of our portion. So there we will be fundamentally dealing with macroeconomics, whereas now onwards, the coming units, we will be more focused on managerial economics, which is all about that portion of economics which is used by managers for taking decisions. Managerial economics can be macro or micro, that all depends. I think all of you are clear with this fundamental. We came across to definition of managerial economics, which is the integration of economic theory with business practice for the purpose of facilitating decision making and forward planning by management. That is what is the definition of managerial economics, that portion of economics which helps in understanding and taking decisions in an organization, that is managerial economics. Then we talked about scope of managerial economics, what all is covered in managerial economics. Of course, these are the topics which we worked out on the basis of this basic input output model: demand, production, cost, market structures, profit, price. That is what we are going to study in the coming units. Macroeconomics, then we were actually discussing this. We were on this, if I am not mistaken. We were on basic concepts related to economics, that is majorly your unit number 2, which covers some basics about what fundamental mathematics is used in managerial economics. Am I right? We were on this. Anybody in your class who can update me about it, or who can discuss about what we discussed about in the last session? Anybody in your class? Before I start off, still 8 minutes to go. Still 8 minutes to go, so I like to ask you, anybody who can brush up? Okay, Tanjeet. Okay, last two slides were supposed to be done again, as it was not clear last time. Okay, so we will before coming to these last two slides, I will be coming to this slide. We'll start off our discussion today with this. If you all can connect to it, we actually discussed this in the session last time. This is a small exercise that I had given you. Based on this, I had asked you all to write few points, few factors which affect the demand for cars in India. Okay, so anybody who can answer? Anybody who can recollect this? Or rather, I will ask everybody to just work for it for next 5 minutes, and we'll be starting off the session in next 5 minutes. Yes, Tanjeet, we discussed this. So I just want you all to revise all this, because the next point that we are going to discuss will be based on what is this exercise all about. And those who cannot hear me, Smita and others, please check in your internet facilities, because others can hear me clearly, very clearly. Okay? Okay, disposable income. easy availability of loan, cheap cars, okay. And what about other factors? Fuel prices, richa, yes. Utility. I'm not getting answers from others. Somesh, Abhishek, Rahul, Aniket Mani, Subrata Verma, Brij Mohan Sharma, Divya Singhal, Sachin Malhotra, Sandeep Kumar Mukherjee. Okay, comfort, status symbol, rise in standard of living, Subrata good, purchasing power of an individual. Okay, rise in standard of living, purchasing power of individuals. What about others? Still 3 minutes to go, so we are just brushing up what we covered in the last class. You also write this. Okay. Consumer income. Okay. Okay. So based on this, we came up to this. Yes, taxation structure by the government, Bridgemon, absolutely correct. We came up to this standard discussion when we talked about demand for cars in India. We talked about there are various factors that contribute towards the demand for that have contributed towards the demand for cars in Indian scenario. These factors include price, substitutes and complementary goods, consumer income, consumer taste and preferences, credit facility, distribution of national income. Of course, on the slide itself, I've missed out various other points like government policy, then the infrastructure facilities that are available in a nation, that also drives the demand for cars, because better infrastructure means that people are motivated towards usage of cars and driving it more and more. So when we analyze these factors out here, we conclude that there are many factors which can affect the demand for cars in India. The reason behind this exercise that I have taken up in the class is, with this I wanted to come up to a mathematical expression which is known as demand functional analysis. Now, as all of you can see this, again those who already have understood, please I have to recap. The last equation or expression that is being displayed on your slide is demand is equal to function of x1, x2, x3, so on, so forth. Is this expression clear to everybody? Where x1 in this slide stands for price, x2 stands for substitutes and complementary commodities, consumer income for x3, so on, so forth. So I hope all of you understood this expression, and this expression is a mathematical expression which brings us closer to the fact that in economics, because we deal with variables, where in this case demand is a dependent variable on various independent variables like x1, x2, x3, x4, so on, so forth. That is why we are going to cover up a little bit portion about mathematics. That is exactly what your unit number 2 is all about, which gives us a glimpse of what mathematical tools are used in economic analysis and how these fundamentals become a very important part of economics. So next, what I am going to do is, based on this slide, I am going to discuss the coming two slides. Before I proceed on to the other slides, my Yes, I have started it right now, Naveen. I am just recapping it. I have just recapped what I covered last in the class. That was this expression. I think all 28 candidates, those who have joined in just now also, remember this. So I was just recapping what we have done till now. I have not started the class per se now. Okay. So is it clear, everybody? I am assuming this is clear, everybody. Based on this expression, that is demand is equal to function of x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, we will now proceed further. Okay, so technically speaking, now it is the time that we start the class, because till this point we had already covered the discussion of the slide in the last session. Okay, now based on this expression, you all can write it down in your notebooks if you want to, because based on this we will be further discussing our other mathematical concepts that we did not discuss in the last class. Okay, I ask you now that, see, simply saying that there is a relationship between demand, price, consumer income, so on and so forth, is it the complete story? For taking a decision, is it the complete story? I don't think so that is the complete story, because only saying that there is a relationship that exists is not a vital statistics for taking decision for the managers. When managers have to take decisions, they need to be slightly more precise about the relationship between the variables to work on that how the relationship between the variables is worked out. We will start off our discussion with this particular slide. All of you can have a look at this table. Okay, now there are two variables that have been identified. One is population, another one is the sugar consumed. What do you think you can analyze as a relationship between these two variables? One is population and another one is the sugar consumed. What is the relationship between these two variables in this given slide? This is my question to everybody. Is it positive or is it negative? What about others? Yes, it is. All of us can make out that there is a positive relationship between these variables, and this positive relationship, though we can observe in this data, okay, we have to establish this relationship. So in mathematics, those who have already done, fine with it. Those who are from other background, fine with that too. There is an analysis which is known as correlation and regression analysis. Have you heard about it? Correlation and regression analysis. Have you heard about it? Okay. So some of you have heard about it. Some of you don't know what it is all about. Okay. See, this correlation and regression analysis you will be covering up in your quantitative techniques as a subject, that is statistics mainly. What do you mean by correlation? If we see the word itself, it says it is when we are trying to establish a relationship between the two. Okay. In correlation analysis, we actually sort out with the help of mathematical tools something which is known as a correlation coefficient. For example, for this given data that we have already discussed about population and sugar consumed, when we will work on correlation coefficient, it will be a positive correlation coefficient we use entire mathematics. So with the help of correlation mathematical tool, we are able to establish that there exists a relationship between the two variables. The relationship can be positive or it can be negative, and if our correlation coefficient is 0, that means that between these two variables, the given two variables, there is no relationship that exists. Okay, So what I'm trying to tell you that in mathematics, this correlation analysis helps us in finding that for a given set of data whether there exists a relationship between the two variables or not. There is a lot of mathematics in it that we use entire formulas for getting it done. Okay, so that is correlation coefficient or correlation analysis. Okay, any ideas about what is regression analysis? Any ideas about what is regression analysis? Okay. For this given data, now listen to me very clearly. For this given data that you have already seen, population and sugar consumed, when we will apply regression analysis on this, the answer or the result will be in the form of an equation. Okay, that is being displayed on your slide. Can you see this? Y is equal to 27.44 plus 1.96x. Okay, where y happens to be the sugar consumed and x happens to be the population. Are you all able to relate? Okay, now with the help of, listen to me very carefully, with the help of regression analysis, again it is a mathematical tool, we are able to work out what is the exact relationship between the two variables. For example, this given data, okay, that you can see out here, when we will apply regression analysis on this given data, the answer will be, again I am repeating, y is equal to 27.44 plus 1.96x, where y is sugar consumed and x is population. Now another question that is coming to my mind is, do you think this equation, which is a linear one, gives me the exact relationship between the two variables? I'm waiting for your answers. Why don't you think so? It is giving me the exact relationship between the two variables. Amit, what is the logic? Even Tanjeet, I'd like to ask you. About others also, those Prashant, Somesh, Chetan, Amit, Sunil Dikshit, Vishal Chandwa, I will like to answer, all of you to answer it. Okay, Nishant, you are not sure? Okay, Tanjeet, you have not understood, I think. What about others? Agree with Tanjeet. You have also not understood. See, my simple question is that suppose I'm given this equation where y is sugar consumed and x is population. Okay, I am asking you, does this define an exact relationship between two variables for the given set of data? Yes, Ankit, you are right. Is it giving the exact relationship between two variables? No. Okay, there can be a little bit variation. That is the realistic view. It is derived, Tanjeet, through regression analysis, which uses lot many mathematical formulas, which will be taught to you in your quantitative techniques, not here. I will be only covering up the conceptual view. Okay, so everybody, it's not exact. I say it is exact. No, it is not a standard equation. This regression analysis equation has been arrived at by using regression analysis only for the given data, this one. Only for this data, this is the equation. For different data, the equation will be totally different. Okay? Okay? Is it understood? Okay, only for this data I apply regression and my answer is this equation. Only the question is, does it define the exact relationship? For those who have not understood, Let me tell you, this equation for the given set of data determines the exact relationship between the two variables. The reason being, the logic is, for any given value of population, I will be able to calculate the sugar consumed. Okay, again I am repeating, this is an exact equation. The reason being, for any given population, that is X, I will be able to calculate what is the sugar consumed. Yes, Sachin, it will not be exact. See, there will be slight deviation, that is the mathematical portion. Yes, Nishant, absolutely correct. Is it understood? See, there is a deviation in the analysis. There is a deviation in the analysis. वो trend analysis होती है, that is a part of it. But through regression analysis, more or less within a given range, we are able to work on the relationship between one-to-one relationship between y and x. Okay, so these kind of equations are dealt in economics, and these equations that have been used in economics are basic fundamental standard equations which have been a result of various data analysis that has been done by various economists, and they have used this correlation and regression analysis a lot for defining these kind of equations in economics. So with this discussion we can conclude, okay, that the correlation analysis Sachin, I'll just let you know, there must be some mistake in the equation, I guess. Okay, I'll just let you know. I think you have understood the concept. I'll let you know the mathematical portion. Okay, so I hope all of you have understood the concept that I'm trying to relate to. Okay, so based on this we will move further on, and we will say that not only in economics, it is any managerial decision making, you need to work on various variables, and most of the time on the given set of data one has to bring out the correlation and regression analysis and finally conclude that whether two variables are related or not related through correlation coefficient, and through regression analysis one is able to forge out an exact relationship between the two variables in the form of an equation. That equation can be a linear equation, or it can be a quadratic equation, or it can be a cubic equation, or it can be an exponential equation that has been discussed in your unit number 2. Okay, so that is where we bring ourselves closer to closer to some fundamental mathematics that is used in economics. Now when we will be going through this portion of economics, we will be studying these fundamental functions. We will be starting off our chapter unit number 4 with demand function, where we will say demand is equal to function of price. Then production as a chapter, we will use this expression, total production is a function of input, and for cost function we say total cost is equal to function of output. These are the three basic fundamental functional functions that we are going to use. Positive relationship means, for example, if one variable goes up, another variable is also going up, column, that is what we term as a positive relationship. For example, when I am small, with my age my height also goes up. There is a positive relationship between two variables, one is age, another is height. So I think that is positive relationship. Negative relationship is that when one variable goes up, other variables values comes down. Okay, directly proportional or inversely proportional, that is what we talk in terms of mathematics. Now, based on this understanding of correlation and regression analysis, we will now come to now, because your study material has changed. Previously it was for chapter number 2. This is your chapter number 4 that I'm starting today, and I will be covering majorly that chapter number 4, which is all about demand analysis, and we will be covering up today even a portion of supply also. Okay, now I am starting unit number 4 today. I will be covering it up. Let me just work out which is this unit, because your materials have changed. It is unit number 3. I'm really sorry. Yes, it is unit number 3. Okay. Now we start off with this chapter, that is demand. It is a very interesting one, and of course, it is very important and vital for any decision that has to be taken up in any organization. The reason being that when demand is analyzed, based on that many strategic decisions are taken by the organization, and the better the demand forecasting, the organization is able to optimize on its inventory, whereas it results in reduction of cost also. So better demand forecasting, better analysis of demand obviously results in better production capacities, better utilization of resources, and optimum inventory levels that are to be maintained in an organization. Now we will analyze this demand from the angle of consumers point of view, and the supply from the point of suppliers point of view. uh, Meanwhile, when we are doing this chapter, my request to you all is keep yourself in the shoes of a consumer. That how you behave when you are a consumer of certain product. Of course, all of us are involved in so many purchases in day-to-day lives. Even we buy some consumer durables like TV, ACs and all. So more or less we all have been involved in some or the other purchase processes. So keep yourself in the shoes of a consumer throughout when I'm discussing this particular chapter, that is demand. First question that comes to my mind is, as a consumer, what do you think is the common meaning of demand? As a consumer, what do you think is a demand for you? For what products you have a demand? Okay, Tanjeet, it is the need, it is the necessity. Okay, a measurable need, a good answer. Yes, something that a consumer would buy or want. Obviously, absolutely correct. Okay, good product for cheap, that also could be a need, that you want to buy something which brings value to yourself. Okay, so basically most of the answers that I'm getting, demand from our side is nothing but the need that is there for a product. But is it only the need or the desire that is important? Suppose I desire, okay, as a middle class person, a BMW. Okay, do you think I have the demand for a BMW? It's not always that need is the is the initial drive. Desire also can be a need. Sorry, desire can also stimulate demand. We can say desire can also stimulate demand. Okay, so I can say that I desire, or maybe I can say I need a BMW, because actually I don't drive, so I do travel by public transport these days. So I can say I need a car and I desire a BMW. But the thing that what can stop me from from buying that particular product is Number one, the affordability, I may not be able to afford that particular product, and suppose tomorrow it happens that I earn a lottery. Okay, do you still think that I will buy a BMW? What is your answer? I mean, suppose all of us win a lottery of 1 crore tomorrow, all of us will, we will buy that particular product? I don't think so it is necessary. The reason being it is not only the affordability and the desire. There has to be willingness also. As a middle class person, if I earn 1 crore, I will like to keep it for my security, for my retirement, just save that money and try to secure it for my future, something like that. So what I'm trying to say is that from a consumer's point of view, if we look at demand, it is number one, desire or need, which is backed up by ability and willingness to pay. That is what completes the demand for a particular product. Like for example, for Mercedes Benz, the demand is by those people, those who desire it, those who have the ability to buy it, and those who are willing to spend that much money on that particular product. So it is the willingness, ability, and the desire to buy a product, what we term from the consumer's point of view. Another question, if I talk from the point of view of the organization, suppose I talk from the point of view of management who is sitting in Mercedes Benz, okay, as a product, what is demand for them? What is demand for an organization? How would they visualize the demand? No, Zafar, absolutely not. Okay, yes, to an extent, it is the potential consumers who are going to buy their particular product, okay, or sale of goods. No, that is not demand. Profit thing that somebody has business to get profit, that is not the thing. Need of the people is a general answer, Amrita. It is the sales that any organization is able to carry, maybe in the past, in the coming future, or in the contemporary times. That is what is the demand for any organization. If we take the example of Mercedes Benz, for Mercedes Benz as an organization, it is the number of cars they are able to sell to the consumers who are willing, who have the desire, and who have the ability to buy the product. That is what is demand for the Mercedes Benz. In India, in Mumbai, suppose if it is 100 people who buy their car, that is demand for Mercedes Benz. Okay, is it clear now, Dinakar? The question was from an organization's point of view, what is demand? Okay, yes, if we are talking about futuristic demand, then it is the potential that is there, that how many people are going to buy Mercedes Benz in coming time. That is what is demand for future. What you have already sold in the previous times is demand for the past. What you are currently selling is the demand that is an ongoing demand for the organization. So the first sentence that is written on the slide, it says the term demand refers to the quantity demanded of a commodity per unit of time at a given price. It is not time, it is given price. So the number of quantity the organization is able to sell at in a particular time period at a particular price, that is what is demand for any organizations. Nothing, in simple terms we will say it is the sales done in a particular time at a particular price. That is what is demand for an organization. Now based on this discussion, we will now look forward to Subrata, then Tata would haven't made nano, sorry. See, Tata ka demand forecasting was slightly not done on realistic manner. I will discuss this later on. See, I have only started with a theoretical discussion about demand. demand, demand forecasting, demand elasticity, what all are the factors that affect demand. That is what completes the entire demand as a chapter. Okay. Zafar, quality is a factor that affects demand. Please don't get confused. Quality is a factor that affects demand. Okay. Now, there is some problem. Just give me one moment. I think we have already done this demand function. Then we are going to now discuss what is law of demand. Okay. Now law of demand, see, we all remember this expression. D is equal to function of x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. This is slightly theoretical also. According to law of demand, we keep all other factors that affect demand as constant, and we only focus on one given variable, that is price. So as per law of demand, it states that quantity of a product demanded per unit time increases when its price falls and decreases when its price increases. It, sorry, not decreases, it increases, keeping all other factors constant. In a very simple nutshell, I will say, when I keep all other factors as constant, I only presume two variables, demand and price. I say according to law of demand, it is that there is an inverse relationship between demand and price. I hope all of you understand what is an inverse relationship. That is, when price go up, demand comes down. When prices go down, demand goes up. Does it happens with your psychology also? Okay, let us forget about the theoretical portions. Let us talk about our common sense also. Okay, does it happen with us that when the price of a commodity is coming down, we are more attracted towards it? Okay, we want to buy that particular commodity because we have the desire or maybe the need, or it is necessary. So it is in our psychology that when, as a consumer, when price of a commodity comes down, we tend to purchase more. Suppose tomorrow it happens that apple's prices fall to rupees 20 rupees per kg, then we all are going to go and buy it. Okay, if prices go up, uh, the demand might come down because we are not attracted towards it. Okay, so that is what is fundamentally, it is slightly theoretical also, but we need to understand it. uh, this is law of demand. Now based on law of demand, which says that between demand and price there is an inverse relationship, I have given this set of data for you. Okay, I have not talked about supply right now. See, when we study economics, a small fundamental that you all have to keep in mind is that when I'm studying only demand and price, I am not talking about supply. Okay, supply I will be dealing with later on, then I'll integrate demand and supply both. So right now I am only focused on demand and price. That is the fundamental drawback of economics. It is a slightly theoretical subject. You need to understand all the fundamentals completely, and then possibly, combine the two, integrate the two. Okay, everybody. So when I'm talking about demand and price, please don't focus on supply. That is a different concept altogether. Okay, for this given two variables, that is price and demand, I'm giving you 2 minutes time. Everybody, in your notebooks, make a diagrammatic representation taking on x-axis demand and on y-axis price. Please do it fast. Y-axis you have to keep price, There are certain exceptions to law of demand. Let me complete the chapter. There are certain exceptions to law of demand where law of demand does not exist. This is a theoretical version of law of demand. Of course, as managers, we have the right to modify it and use it as per our product. Please everybody, 2 minutes time. Finish off your diagrammatic representation for this. See, there are certain products which are exceptions to law of demand. We will be doing that also. Right now, what I have asked you, please cover that up. Your questions, please write down. I will be discussing the same during the interval. It's not a bell curve. Yeah, it has a downward slope, absolutely. Okay, so I think most of you know how to prepare a graphical representation. Based on this, I'll come to the fact that so your graph is like this, everybody, where price on y-axis and of course cups of tea demanded per day on x-axis. If your graph is not like this, please recheck it. You need to know how to draw graphical representations. It is an absolute must in economics. Okay. So assuming that you've understood that there will be a downward slope because there is an inverse relationship, price goes up, demand goes down, price goes down, demand goes up. Next, we need to prove it, because it is just saying this is not believing. We need to prove that there is something which is known as a law of demand, which says that there is an inverse relationship. Psychologically speaking, we all can understand that this phenomena can happen, but we need to reason out this law of demand. So to reason out this law of demand, there are various theories, there are various concepts which are used. Out of that, I will be taking these three reasons. One is the income effect, another one is the substitution effect. As you can see, another one is the law of diminishing marginal utility. See, when I'm analyzing law of demand, please keep in mind that you have to only focus on demand and price, because I've already said that all other factors are kept constant and only two factors are analyzed, variables are analyzed here: demand and price. Okay, so please keep every other thing as constant, then only you will be able to understand this concept. Okay, that is what makes economics a theoretical subject to deal with, but of course we can remodel it to apply it to various practical situations. uh, Income effect, okay, is all about the disposable income in the hands of the consumers. Okay, more or less, when we talk ourselves as consumers who are consuming day to day some necessity items like fruits, vegetables and all, we keep sometimes our budgets in our mind. For example, let us take into an assumption, an example where I say that I intend on, I have budgeted out at least that every day I am going to consume apples worth 100 rupees. Again, an assumption, a theoretical assumption. So please, out of it, don't think. Okay, I have assumed that I have decided that 100 rupees I'm going to spend on apples because I love apples. My family loves apples. Okay. Now in this case, suppose prices of apples are 50 rupees per kg. What do you think will be my demand for apples? How many kgs I like to buy? A very simple question to ask. 2 kgs. A very simple reply also, but will remain constant, or I am just asking you how much I'll intend to buy. I've already decided that 100 rupees I'm going to put in apples. Will depend on price. In this case, if it is 50 rupees per kg, I'll buy 2 kgs. Simple. Okay. Suppose it goes down. Prices of apples goes down from 50 rupees per kg to 25 rupees. What will be my intentions? I'm already assuming that I have the willingness, I have the desire, I have the ability also. 4 kgs. What is happening as a phenomena in this is that when price of a commodity comes down, like for example this apple, okay, what happens is when it was 50 rupees I was buying only 2 kgs, but when it was 25 rupees, when I have already spent 50 rupees, I bought 2 kgs, but still I am left with some disposable income in the hands, okay, which I can further on go and purchase that particular item. So this income effect, what it says is that when price of a commodity comes down, consumers are left with more disposable income in their hands, and if they have the demand for that particular product, that is, they are willing, they have the ability and they have the desire to buy the product, they are going to purchase more units of that particular product. This is Nilesh Narottam Gore. I am giving you an certain assumptions also. I have already told you there is an assumption that I have decided that no matter what it is, 100 rupees I am going to spend on apples. Okay, not necessarily, you are absolutely correct. In practical scenarios this can be twisted and used. Yes, Rehman, what is the question? I already said that I have the demand for apples. In my family, I can consume up to 10 kgs, 11 kgs, 12 kgs. Yes, Rehman, what is your question? This is only a concept, this is only a theoretical fundamental, which can only be described when we only consider some assumptions, some experimental values. If price comes down, demand will be higher, but what? When prices go up, consumers are, suppose the price of apple goes up to rupees 75, I will not be able to buy more than 1.5 kgs or 1 kg and 250 grams. See, Rahman, here when I analyze demand, I am analyzing from one consumer point of view. You are linking it to many consumers and market demand scenario, whereas I am indicating this example from a micro aspect of one consumer. That is what is the fundamental difference between my discussion and your understanding. Okay, you are taking into bringing into other consumers, like when I'm saying myself, then you are talking about others also who join in and buy apples. That is what we term as a market demand scenario. Of course, it all depends on demand. As I told you, it is a slightly theoretical concept to discuss, where I have already told you that there are certain limitations to understanding economics. Please don't bring into your practical ideas into it, okay, because practically speaking this is this may not apply at all. Okay, so this is just a conceptual theoretical reason behind law of demand. Okay, so please bring your focus on what we are discussing, only demand and price, nothing else. Okay, then comes the substitution effect. That also becomes one of the reason of law of demand. Yes, every law has, because it is a theoretical thing. So when we talk about, say, substitution effect, it is, we say that products which have good substitutes, good close substitutes, for these kind of products, what happens is when the prices of these products go up in the market, people start switching to their substitutes. Okay, and because of this, the demand for the product comes down. For example, suppose If you consider, if we carry forward the same example of apples, I say that for me as a consumer, suppose pears are a close substitute to apples. For me, I consider more or less both as equal, and I feel that uh, these both are have nutrition values. Then what will happen is, if the prices of apples will go up, I'll start switching off my preferences to the to its substitutes. So price of apple goes up, its demand also will come down, because consumers start switching it uh, to the to its substitutes. So this is known as substitution effect. Is it clear? Is it clear, the first two reasons, everybody? Now I'll come to the last reason that works out for law of demand, that says law of diminishing marginal utility. To define this reason, I will ask you, what is utility for you? The first question that is coming to my mind is, what is utility for you? What is the meaning of utility? Does it mean satisfaction? Utility is the benefits. It is the satisfaction level or the usefulness. Absolutely correct. Yes, it is satisfaction that you derive out of consumption of 1 unit of a product. Okay. Number one thing about utility that all of you need to remember is that utility as a concept is all about economics of an individual consumer. Okay, what I've already told you, that economics can apply to an individual consumer, economics can apply to an individual organization. So this utility as a concept is used for individual consumers economics. एक human being की जो economics जब पढ़ी जाती है, that is where the utility comes into picture. Okay, it has a great relevance in management also, because it relates to consumer behavior, how consumers derive satisfaction, or what all are the factors, how they behave, so on and so forth. These all are the theories that are understood in utility as a topic. Okay, now when I say satisfaction as a variable or as a characteristic, is it qualitative or quantitative in nature? Is it qualitative or quantitative in nature? How come it is quantitative? Amrita, Ankit Mani, how is it quantitative? Utility, how is it quantitative? Quantitative or qualitative? If you ask me, fundamental characteristic of utility is more towards qualitative side. Okay, it is qualitative because measuring it is very tough. The question was related to what preciseness you are able to measure that particular this particular characteristic. Like you can measure distance, you can measure time, you can measure other characteristics like height, the length, the volume, everything. Can you on similar basis, precise basis, calculate utility? Okay, you cannot. That is why it is more towards a qualitative characteristic. Okay, that is where what economists did was, they studied utility as a qualitative characteristic. Okay, which, like for example, if I talk about my intelligence. Okay, now my intelligence again is a qualitative fundamental. Calculating it, measuring it is very tough. Okay, so for utility as a topic in economics, it has been studied with two approaches. One, you can write it down in your notebooks, it is very important. I'll give you examples also, don't worry, Vineet. One is what is known as cardinal approach, and another one is known as ordinal approach. So to understand the basic concepts of utility, two approaches have been used by economists. One is cardinal another one is ordinal approach. Okay, now as far as the cardinal approach is concerned, in cardinal approach economists use utility as a quantitative characteristic. Okay, they have converted utility into a quantitative characteristic, just like distance, time, height, volume, length, so on so forth. They have made it more measurable. Okay, whereas in ordinal approach they have used this utility concept by assuming that utility is a qualitative factor. Okay, so in your chapter that is utility, there will be two approaches to utility, that is cardinal and ordinal approach. Again I am repeating, for cardinal approach economists assume that utility can be measured in quantitative manner, and in ordinal approach economists assume that utility is a qualitative characteristic. Okay, whereas both the approaches have taken their own significance. When we convert utility into a quantitative approach or a quantitative characteristic, it involves lot many psychometric testing and psychological testing, which we need not identify here. Reusable entity, no, it is not an entity, it is a concept. Pranav, it is a concept. How utility can drive your demand, that is a conceptual view we are taking. It is not an entity here. It is not an entity, it is the satisfaction level. Okay, you cannot say your intelligence is an entity. That is again a qualitative factor which can lead to your success in your organization. So it's a concept basically. Okay, so as far as we are going to talk about utility, we will take into consideration the cardinal approach here. Okay, so for cardinal approach I will be sharing some whiteboard with you. Okay, for cardinal approach, that is diminishing marginal utility, we will say that, suppose, again a theoretical example to give here, but you'll have to relate to it. Again it's slightly under some limitations. See, when we define utility, okay, I will take into consideration the cardinal approach for explaining why it can become a reason of law of demand. Suppose I give you an instance that I am thirsty. Okay, to that extent that I have not had my I did not have water for last 3 days. Okay, and there are some, let me say, 10 glasses of water, 10 glass of water that has been placed in front of me. That is the situation that I am giving you. And in these 10 glasses of water, just like as I've already said that here I am taking the cardinal approach, so I will have to make it more measurable. So just like kilometers is a unit for distance, we will use a unit for utility. That is, the unit used for utility is known as utils. Okay, and I say that for the first glass, I'm just typing it for you guys, then it will get displayed. From the first glass of water I derive, I give you this as an starting point, that first glass of water gives me 10 utils of utility. It will have a diminishing effect. That is where I am coming to, Prashant. Okay, okay, my question to you guys is my text clear to you? Everybody, you can see the whiteboard and my text in it? Okay, okay, Now my question to you guys is, if first glass of water is giving me 10 utils of utility, okay, what about the second glass of water? What about the second glass of water that I consume? It will be 10 utils only, or you think it will be lesser than 10 utils? Less than 10 utils. Absolutely correct. So I assume that my second glass of water gives me 9 utils of satisfaction. Further on, I come to the third glass. It gives me 8 utils of satisfaction. Then I come to the fourth glass. It gives me 7 utils of satisfaction. Okay, that is when I am graduating from 1, 2, 3, 4 units of the commodity. My utility that I am deriving out of each successive unit is coming down. Okay, yes, it can become negative also. There might be the case that after 6 glasses of water I will be, totally saturated, and I will not want to have the 7th glass of water, so it can go negative also. Okay, so what is as a phenomena that you can observe out here is, the phenomena is diminishing marginal utility. Here marginal utility means, with the consumption of every extra glass of water, the number of utils that I am deriving is known as marginal utility. Okay, so can you relate to something which is known as diminishing marginal utility here? Is marginal utility coming down when I'm consuming extra units of the product? Yeah, it can apply to eating chapatis also. Absolutely correct. It can apply to any product. Okay, it is diminishing. Diminishing means coming down. So actually it is coming down. As you can see, 10, 9, 8, 7, so on so forth. Okay, so there is a phenomena of what we observe out here is, yes, Colim, that is the reason, that is why it is known as a reason. Okay, all of you, can you understand this diminishing marginal utility, diminishing utility here? Okay, all of you? Okay, so I will now move further on, saying that because every successive unit of the product gives us less utility, that brings down even the willingness to pay price also. Because in this case, if you see it fundamentally, I am ready to pay highest prices for the first glass. Okay, second glass I am ready to pay, but my intentions are slightly less, my willingness is slightly less, because it will give me lesser satisfaction in comparison to the first glass. Okay, that brings us closer to the fact. If we see what is law of demand here, this is law of demand, which says that on x-axis it is the quantity, and on y-axis it is the price. Okay, so what is happening when number of glasses is going up? The intentions to pay the price is coming down, because I am deriving less satisfaction by each successive unit that I consume. Okay, so can we say that this law of diminishing marginal utility is also one of the reasons of law of demand? Can we say this? Anybody who has not understood this? Okay, so I assume that all of you have understood this concept, that is diminishing marginal utility, how it can be used for explanation of law of demand, that is there. Another vital thing that I think I should tell you now here is that when we consume one extra unit of a product, that is known as marginal utility. But in this case, total utility is a slightly different concept, which says that the total utility that I derive from the consumption of my first glass of water is 10. Then when I consume 2 glasses of water, my total utility that I derive is 10 plus 9. Okay, from the third, when I consume 3 glasses, I derive 10 plus 9 plus 8 utility. Okay, so this is total utility concept, which says marginal utility is that every unit of glass how much satisfaction it is giving. Total utility is just a cumulative effect, which says when I consume 1 glass, I have 10 utils. When I consume 2 glasses, 19 utils. When I consume 3 glasses, that is 27 utils that I derive. So total utility, marginal utility, these are two different concepts that are used in economics. Is it clear, everybody? Is it clear, everybody? Okay, so with this note, I will be taking a break, but not a break for you guys. So we will be now slightly, I will be slightly more engaging, in the sense that I am now for next 10 minutes that I will be taking a break. I am just displaying a case study for all of you. Just read that case study. A little bit discussion about that case study we can do later on. Just bringing closer to the practical aspect. That is also one of the important thing that I have to do here. So I am just displaying a case study for all of you, which for next 10 minutes you all have to do. A very simple one. I would have displayed the same last time only, but I could not. A very simple, practical situation that I'm displaying, and all of you are supposed to read it for next 10 minutes while I'll take a break. I'm just coming to the case study. All of you can see this. I'll increase the font size. Okay, can you all see this? So next 10 minutes I am taking a break. Meanwhile, all of you have to cover up this case study. Now in this case study, what are you supposed to analyze, or what are you supposed to understand is what I am putting it, what all factors in the chat box, what all factors that you have to visualize in this. Output, what is the product? Okay, what is company type? Company all about? Okay, then you have to work out on inputs. What all are the inputs that are required? Okay, what all are the demand, cost, and production factors that have been determined in this. Okay, so I'm putting it in the chat box. You have to analyze what is the output, you have to analyze what is the company type, what all are the inputs, what are the demand, what is the demand factor that has been discussed, what all are the production factors, what all are the cost factors that have been discussed in this case study. This is a simple practical view of analyzing situations economically. Okay, so please go through it. Next 10 minutes I am not going to speak, so all of you can read it, have your teas, coffees along with the case study. So that is what is going to be an exercise I'm going to take up. During my breaks you will have to do these case studies. Okay.
Okay, so what is your understanding about this? Oh, you are still working on it. So Dinakar and others, I'll be giving you some time during the next break. Okay, then you all can read it once more and bring out the factors that I have asked you. Because see, this case study can be analyzed from marketing point of view. It can be analyzed from various other angles. But we will visualize this case study from an economics point of view. Okay, so that will be there will be a slight difference when we analyze this. We will be focusing more on the economic side of this particular discussion that has been displayed here. Okay, so more about entertainment industry where the product is in the form of animation. So the product is animation. Okay, and organization is mostly of joint venture kind, whereas there is an objective, there is an aim with which any organization comes up. Like Taj Mahal was built up with the aim of producing a marvelous monument. The entire processing done after that is more or less to actually achieve that particular objective and aim. So aim and objective of any organization is very important. What kind of product you are trying to bring to the market, what demand it holds in the market, what all are the cost criteria, what all are the production criteria that are involved. So all these factors are important to be analyzed in this situation, and maybe based on that you can analyze this economically. Okay, so we will be discussing it after the second break.